Okay, we're looking at question 4 from the mock, which is basically a question about using your calculator. So this question was generally not done that well, and I think it's all to do with the settings on the calculator. So let's take a look at part A. Write down the value of the Pearson's product moment correlation coefficient. So this is worth 2 marks just for getting the right value here. So first of all, we need to put the data in. I think most people can probably do that correctly. I've already got my data put in here. So the X score, and then the second test, which is Y, just double check that they are all correct. So to find the R value, we go to Calc, and a key thing here is to check the setup. So we've got 2 variables. We need to make sure that our X list is in list 1. If yours doesn't say list 1, then press this button and press 1, and that your second variable is in list 2. So press list 2. The second variable frequency should be set to 1. So exit out of that, and we're going to go into regression and X, and I'm going to choose AX plus B. Here is where we can find our R value. So it's 0.916799, which means to 3 significant figures, it is 0.917, which is a strong positive correlation. So remember that correlation coefficient will be between -1 and 1. Anything near 0 is basically saying there's no correlation. If we're up near 1, we've got a positive correlation. If we're down in -1, we've got a negative correlation. And the closer to those extreme values, the stronger the correlation. So here we're very close to 1. So this is a very strong positive correlation. All right, for part B, if a student was absent from one of the tests, comment on why it might be appropriate to use a regression equation to estimate the student's mark. We need to think about 3 things here. First of all is the value of the correlation. So here, because we have a strong correlation, it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. If it's strong, then we can use it as an estimate. The second thing we need to consider is, are we interpolating or extrapolating? So if a student was absent for one of these tests, if the score that we had falls within inside the existing range, so we don't actually know here which one it is, but say they got between 19 and what's the top score here, 46, or between 19 and 49 on the second test, then we'd be interpolating, which is better. But really this question doesn't require us to go on into that detail. It just says comment on why it might be appropriate. So if we didn't have a strong positive correlation or a strong negative correlation, it definitely wouldn't be appropriate, but it might be appropriate because we've got that. But just to kind of give the overview, we then look at interpolation, and then we then look at which way round we're being asked to guess, and that will determine which regression line we use. Are we asked to guess Y based on X or X based on Y? So that's the other thing that we often consider here, Y on X or X on Y. But we don't need that detail. Really, the mark here was for just putting the word strong with relation to correlation. Okay, thirdly, the regression equation of Y on X and the regression equation of X on Y both pass through the point P. Find the coordinates. Here, there is no need to find both equations. It is possible to do it that way, but it gets a bit tricky because for Y on X, you'll get an equation. So here, Y on X, for example, I will have Y equals 0.96, this whole number X plus B, that will be one equation. I then have to get the other one by switching the lists over and remembering that the other one will be written as X equals AY plus B when I write it down, then finding the intersection. That is a possible way of doing it, but the real skill that's being tested here is, do you know that the regression equation, either way, always passes through the mean point, whichever way round it is? And if you know that, then you know that P is just the mean point. Okay, what's the mean point? it's the mean of x and the mean of y. So that isn't actually shown here. I need to go back, and I'm going to go to 2 variables this time. I can just read straight off of here. So x bar, mean of x, is 31.625. Scroll down, y bar is 31.5. I'll give these as exact answers, but you could also give it rounded to 3 significant figures as well for the mark there. There we go.